When I was growing up, I knew that I always wanted to play music. I knew that that's what I wanted to do with my life. So whenever I was in high school, I was playing in a bunch of different bands, and I was really enjoying it, playing all different types of music, and it just seemed like, yeah, this is what I'm made to do. I feel really comfortable when I'm holding the guitar, or I feel at ease whenever I'm sitting behind a drum kit or something like that. So that just seemed to be the path that I was going on, and I was playing in this band for a few years that I loved. We had loads of fun playing around Belfast and all the local venues where we grew up, and I just felt at one point that wasn't the right path for me, that group was not where I was meant to be. I just didn't have this peace, so I didn't feel totally at ease in that situation. So I decided that I would step away from that and just trust that God had something better for me, that he had a different path, the path that he was calling me down. So I did that. I left that group, which was painful because I was with my brothers at the time, and it just, they were my closest friends, and it felt really strange to be leaving. And especially felt strange to be leaving whenever I didn't really know what I was going towards. I didn't know what the next step was, but that's all I knew, so I went with that. And that took us to the end of school. And at the end of school, most people go off to college, but I didn't really have that option because I just believed, well, I'm meant to be playing music, I'm meant to be doing something like that. So I didn't even really consider going to college as a path for me. All my friends went off to college, and the band that I was with previously kind of took off and rose to these amazing heights, and these guys were playing in huge venues around England, around Scotland, and then all of a sudden they're playing all over the world, in Asia, in the States, in South America. And I remember at the time just thinking, did I make the right decision? At that point I didn't really have a peace about it. I just thought, God, it seemed so clear at the time that you called me out of that. But now they're kind of doing what I wanted to do, what I felt like I was meant to do, so maybe, did I make a mistake? And this was a question that I was rolling over in my head for weeks and months and even a couple of years, and I was talking to all my friends about it. I was saying, this doesn't seem like, I think I maybe made a mistake. And my friends walked with me in that, but there was one person, my friend Lindsay, who said, oh, it's good to be in the wilderness though. And I thought, no, she's talking rubbish. I don't know what that means. I mean, I knew that phrase from the Bible, so I understand that has a place in somebody's life, but that doesn't apply to me. It's not good to be in the wilderness. I'm in a situation where I have left what I think I'm maybe meant to be doing, and God has gone silent. I kept asking him for direction, I kept asking him for what the step was going to be, but I just wasn't getting any answers. And every time I met up with Lindsay, she said, oh, but remember, it's good to be in the wilderness, which was really frustrating. But she was right. You see, around that time I came across this verse in James, and it says, consider it pure joy, my brother, when your faith is tested. And again, that seems like a verse that at the time didn't really make sense to me. But what I love about that verse is it has this meaning that was so relevant to me at the time. And it's that you have to go through those tough times, you have to go through the silence to really work out those things in you that are not right or are not of God. Just like a silversmith heats up silver so that the impurities in it rise to the top. And then that silversmith wipes it away, and he continues to do that until the silver is pure. And he knows that the silver is pure because he can look in the silver and he can see his reflection in it. And I know that this process of testing, this process of being in the wilderness, was so that those impurities and that distrust and that frustration rose to the top, and it could be wiped away. And the end goal was that I would end up looking more like Jesus because of that process. And it was probably a couple of years after that I started writing and recording and playing shows with the guys from Rend Collective. We started this music, we started this ministry, this band just in Gareth's house, and you know, I certainly wasn't thinking, oh, this is going to go somewhere. I certainly wasn't thinking that this was my future for the next 10 years. I just really loved being a part of it. I loved the songs that we were singing. I loved the message that we were bringing. But it was that God said, I'm blessing that. That is the reason why I took you out of the other band. The reason is you're in the reason now. You're doing it now. And I never could have imagined before leaving that band, or I never could have imagined during the wilderness or during that testing phase that God would be using us in the way that He is now. It's amazing to be traveling around the world and singing songs with people and encouraging them and hearing their stories because of how God has used our music in their lives. So Lindsay was right. It's good to be in the wilderness, and that's my ghost story.